Most of eastern Canada is still a vast forest, as it was when the pioneers first saw it centuries ago. The forest is eternal. Succeeding generations of trees renew the woodland crops in nature's cycle of life. Always changing, the forest yet remains unchanged. Above all things, the forest must endure. For the waters, the soil, and the wildlife are part of it. Like the wheat fields, the forest provides a rich harvest. Trees are the crop of forestry. With good forest management, this crop renews itself forever for the benefit of the people of Canada who own most of the woodland. Pulpwood is the essential raw material for many useful goods. Pulp and paper mills depend upon the wood from the forest. These tumbling logs will be the newsprint for your daily newspaper and for other papers all over the world. The mill workers know the forest must keep on producing to ensure them of their livelihood. But a menacing shadow has spread over the Canadian softwood forest. A serious outbreak of the spruce budworm. It has brought desolation to the woods. Dead, gaunt trees are left where the budworm has passed. This is what the budworm has done. A few years back, this was a green forest. Soon it will become a fuel pile for fire. The budworm is less than an inch long. In the spring, with a voracious appetite, it feeds on the needles of balsam and spruce, as many as 50,000 worms on a single tree. For the past 15 years, a budworm outbreak has been raging in the balsam forests of Canada. The budworm has eaten his way from Western Ontario through Quebec and into 5,000 square miles of New Brunswick. The budworm began to flare up in New Brunswick in 1948. Foresters spotted its damage, which soon became a matter of concern. In New Brunswick, more than half the people depend upon the forest for their livelihood. Because of its particular makeup, all of New Brunswick's mature softwood forest may be attacked by the insect. In August 1951 at Fredericton, foresters consulted Dr. R.E. Balch, the Dominion entomologist. He agreed that in one badly infested area, the only chance to save the forest was to spray it. In September, the New Brunswick government and New Brunswick International Paper Company decided to fight the budworm in the threatened forest. A bold spraying operation would be launched in June, the one period of the year when the budworm is vulnerable to DDT. June 1952 was only 8 months away. The target area was in the wild Upselquitch region of northern New Brunswick. 300 square miles in extent, it contained more than 2 million cords of pulpwood. The first task was to carve an airfield out of the forest. Winter had already set in. The job was a tough one. Aerial reconnaissance showed the formidable nature of the terrain. Fortunately, a suitable level spot was found for the airfield in the center of the area to be sprayed. Losing no time, construction crews bulldozed an access road in the wilderness to link the airfield with the company forestry road. 2 runways half a mile long were cleared and graded. Despite the biting cold, raging winds and snow, the job was done in a few weeks. In January 1952, the field was ready except for final surfacing. A ski-equipped plane made a test landing. Meanwhile, a search went on in Canada and the United States to find the 20 special planes required for the operation. In February, the drums of DDT and drums of aviation gasoline for the planes began to arrive at the railhead at Dalhousie and were trucked in over 60 miles of bush road. The spraying called for 200,000 gallons of a special DDT solution which had been difficult to obtain in such quantity and on short notice. The planes would need 35,000 gallons of gasoline. This was the advance guard of the DDT squadron. Drum after drum arrived at the airfield. Finally, all the supplies were there, including huge storage tanks. A camp was built to house the 150 men needed for the operation. At Budworm City, everything was ready when spring came. The ammunition was all laid out, waiting for the coming action against the foe. In late May, the planes appeared high in the sky, hovering like hawks before they settled to their new route. Many had flown 3,000 miles from the Pacific Northwest of the United States. They were veterans of other spray operations, ready for their biggest assignment. At last, the planes were here. The pilots were greeted with understandable joy. Experts in spraying techniques began right away to adjust the delicate spray booms and nozzles. Pilots drew lots for their spray blocks. Individual maps had been prepared during the winter from aerial photos in a mosaic. The pilots flew over their assigned areas to become familiar with their boundaries and landmarks. Flying at treetop height, you must know your terrain thoroughly. The pilots studied carefully the sections they were to spray. Entomologists were watching the budworm develop. 0 hour was drawing near. The larvae were approaching the point in their growth when they would present the best target to the DDT. Weathermen worried. At this point of the operation, weather was the unpredictable factor. Spraying can be done only in still, cool air. Warm air makes the spray rise. When it rains, there is no flying. Wind causes the spray to drift off. Unsuitable weather after the start of the operations could keep the planes grounded. The foresters and entomologists were still watching the budworm closely. The time for spraying was almost upon them. The budworm was now growing fast and feeding heavily. The already damaged trees were being weakened even more. Would the weather be right during the vital 2 weeks ahead? After that, it would be too late for this year, and the forest would start to die. These were days of tense, anxious waiting. On June 13th, the waiting was over. The budworm was ready. Barney Flieger, Director of Operations, called the big blow for next morning. DDT Day dawned on June 14th. At a frigid 3:30 a.m., the pilots hurried to the cookhouse for breakfast. The weather was right. The ground crews gassed up the sturdy biplanes on the flight line and loaded them with insecticide. Contact. The biggest spray operation in the history of Canadian forestry was underway. after the other, the planes trundled out onto the runway and took off into the early morning sky. The powerful motors lifted the planes off in a matter of seconds. Then the aircraft scattered to the areas assigned to them. The planes skimmed the treetops, trailing long, feathery plumes of spray in the calm, cool air. They hugged the roof of the forest, zooming over the hills and dipping into the valleys beyond. Altogether, they managed to spray 7,000 acres for each flying hour, spraying in overlapping strips. The work called for skilled flying, a sharp memory, and precision to lay down the spraying pattern accurately. The pilots had to remember from one flight to another just where they had left off and where to begin. As they ran out of insecticide, the pilots headed back to base for reloading. The 6 loading stands were well organized to make use of every precious minute of flying time. Each plane carried 125 gallons of insecticide, enough to cover as many acres. Budworm City became by far the busiest airfield in Canada. The field averaged a takeoff and a landing every 35 seconds while it was in operation. In the great forest, field observers were busy. Cruisers distributed specially treated paper squares, 22,000 of them throughout the area. The spray settling down upon the paper indicated the degree of effectiveness of the pilot's work, and it was effective. The budworm died by the millions. Each day, runners brought reports of the operation's progress, which were recorded at headquarters. As fast as the spray blocks were completed in the 200,000-acre area, they were shaded in on a master map. Tirelessly, the planes stitched their spray pattern up and down the huge expanse of forest land occupied by the budworm forces. The pilots coaxed the utmost out of every precious minute of flying weather, and there was not too much of it, for the day would soon come when the budworm would no longer be vulnerable. At last, the final block was shaded in. The job was done. The largest spraying operation of its kind had been successfully completed. Now, it was time to relax. The control tower signaled the planes in. One by one, they settled down for the last time. The tired pilots could rest. They had carried out the assignment in 30 hours of flying spread over 15 days. It was now June 29th. DDT Squadron could be disbanded, at least for 1952. Operation Budworm was round 1 in the fight for the forest. It spells new hope for the forest. Entomologists have pronounced it a success. With Operation Budworm as a guide, greater spraying projects are being organized. New Brunswick is building 5 more spraying airfields. Government and industry together plan to continue and expand in the coming years the fight against the budworm plague so that the forest may live.
Since 1952, Forest Protection Limited has engaged in aerial firefighting, pest control, and a variety of other related aerial services. With offices located in Fredericton and Miramichi, New Brunswick, Canada, our fleet of technologically advanced aircraft reflect a clear commitment to protecting our forests and the environment. Our dedicated and professional team go the extra distance to ensure our services are among the best our industry has to offer. We have built a solid and dependable reputation in delivering operational forest protection programs and promoting improvements through research over the last half-century. At Forest Protection Limited, the primary role of our firefighting fleet is to provide rapid initial response to wildfires. The strategy is designed to slow, if not stop, the spread of wildfires, enabling ground crews to extinguish hotspots and to create fire breaks. We also provide air support to crews on large fires, such as shuttling people and equipment. In addition to forest fire protection, we offer a wide range of other aerial services, from pest and vegetation management, to aerial surveys, to search and rescue, to the aerial seeding of salmon parr. Occasionally, damage caused by forest insect pests rises to the level that threatens the health of our forests. At FPL, we are able to provide the aerial application services in support of pest management objectives. Since our inception, we've been a leader in aerial forest pest management. Our commercial efforts and in-house research has pioneered many of the processes and technology that now are considered industry standards. These standards allow modern aerial applications to have a minimal impact on the environment while having a maximum impact on pests. Land managers often need aerial applications to control competing vegetation. Our aircraft are equipped with data recording and navigational systems to make them ideal for vegetation management. At FPL, we have technologically advanced methods for applying pest management both safely and precisely. We have a long history of participating in research that enhances the ability of managers to protect forest lands responsibly, effectively, and above all, safely, with emphasis on cost control. Our company has benefited from partnerships with many government and academic organizations, including the Canadian and U.S. Forest Services, Provincial Department of Natural Resources, and numerous universities. These partnerships have fostered many successes in the protection of forests. Our staff are a dedicated group of professionals completely committed to getting the job done safely and efficiently. Our fleet of 14 aircraft are strictly maintained and serviced by a team of highly skilled and dedicated licensed technicians. We operate 6 Air Tractor 802F aircraft and have another on floats called a Fireboss. Our aircraft have worked in the skies over many Canadian provinces and U.S. states, and even Africa. Our Air Tractor 802Fs are one of the world's largest single-engine aircraft currently in production. The low-maintenance turbine engine integrates the latest technology in aerial environmental management. The aircraft are uniquely equipped for dual-role firefighting and spray missions. As a firefighter, the computerized fire gate control and the 3,100-liter hopper make the aircraft a state-of-the-art air tanker. For pest control, the aerial management system, featuring GPS, radar, and laser altimeters, automatic flow control, automatic boom control, data logging, and weather sensors, turn the Air Tractor into an amazing aircraft for these specialized aerial missions. Our Cessna 188s provide a versatile platform for applying products when small loads are required. The aircraft were built for the sole purpose of pest control applications. They are equipped with state-of-the-art GPS guidance, automatic flow control, data logging capabilities, and weather sensing equipment. Our complement of support aircraft includes the Cessna 206 Stationair, 2 twin-engine Cessna 337 Skymasters, and 2 twin-engine Piper Aerostars. These reliable and proven aircraft can be used as observation platforms or for ferrying personnel and equipment. No other fleet of forestry aircraft has our delivery capabilities. We are industry leaders in the integration of GIS and aircraft guidance systems for aerial applications. We build customized computer programs to import and export mapping data between our aircraft and our office GIS, which increases our ability to transmit information quickly to where it is needed. Our aerial management system combines decision support systems, aircraft speed, drop rates, real-time meteorology, and droplet size into a spray drift model to optimize the delivery without pilot intervention. This maximizes on-target spray deposit while minimizing off-target dispersion. Another important feature to our operation is the AccuAir wind tunnel testing facility, which is used to atomize droplets, determine droplet sizes, and for other research purposes. The 23.5-meter-long wind tunnel can produce wind speeds up to 300 kilometers per hour, and various laser instruments are used to measure the quantity and size of the droplets produced. This facility is one of only a few worldwide, which is capable of conducting tests on non-simulated products. FPL has the equipment, staff, expertise, and skills to provide a wide range of aerial services. We at Forest Protection Limited look forward to working with you to ensure the sustainability of your forests.